So have you ever started a new job and made like a huge splash? Like you come in hot and you're making a difference and everybody seems to like you and it's just really going well for the first 6 months, year, whatever it might be. And then it kind of slows down on you a little bit where you kind of lose some steam, your it factor might go away, whatever that might be. That can be a tough spot. And honestly, most people in any profession don't necessarily survive that type of a transition. And this guest on the 10 Pin Life podcast, Andrew Anderson, although it's not a typical 9-to-5 job, he's in a similar boat where he is in the middle of the grind after making a very big splash. So Andrew made a big splash, if you will, in 2018, 1 year after he joined the PBA Tour and actually being Player of the Year. He won the Masters, which I would argue the 2018 Masters might have been the most difficult Masters that has been contested in the last 5-10 years, because that at the On Center in Syracuse, everything was just really, really tough, and he just outplayed everybody, and it was really fun to watch and see, especially with where he was able to play on the lane. And since then, he's got another title since then, but not a whole lot to write home about besides that. He's still been pretty consistent. He's a guy that's always in competition. And the cool part is, as I'm recording this, today, he's actually leading the U.S. Open after the first squad on day 2 of qualifying, which anytime that you can say that you're in the leader's position at the U.S. Open is pretty darn cool. So, he's a guy that, even though he was in this lull, he's somebody who, in this episode, he explains it pretty well. He's getting out of that, and he's working his way through it. He makes a big switch to bowling with Motiv now, and I'm just excited to see kind of where he goes. So before we get into it, I do want you guys to know that this episode is sponsored by 10 Pin Toolkit. One of the coolest new things that they have in their premium subscription is actually, so it's going to be lane pattern overlays, and it's animated. So the coolest part about this is you can see how the oil is actually distributed on the lane, both forward and then how that overlays in reverse. And if you know much about the way that works, and we'll get into that in later videos, if for those of you that are consistent viewers, I believe they call that foreshadowing. The forward oil is going to carry down, reverse oil is going to hold a little bit better. So being able to know the difference between those two in that animation gives you even a better sense of what that pattern is going to do. So if you are interested in checking out the 10 Pin Toolkit, I have a link in the description below. But let's get to it. This is 10 Pin Life Podcast number 10 with Andrew Anderson.
It takes a lot to live a life in bowling.
Right.
Your whole professional life, to my knowledge, is in the sport of bowling.
Yep.
So I'm really just wanting to give people an insight into what it's like for different people, because it's not just about...
I love Andrew Anderson.
I love Timmy Mack.
Big fan.
It's not just about being on tour, going out and winning titles. There's so many more things. So now, if do I remember correctly, you work for Turbo? Or with?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Work for a contractor.
So what does a day in the life of Andrew Anderson look like when he's not
bowling on tour?
Bowling.
Yeah. So this last month is a perfect example. I was home for most of it, and a day in my life is Turbo does most of my scheduling, but I'm actually the head coach at Turbo Tech. So there's 2 separate parts of Turbo. There's Turbo, the grip company, and then there's Turbo Tech, which is the training side of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I run the training portion of it for Turbo. And when I'm gone, they have other coaches there to take on my lessons in the meantime. But a normal day, I wake up around, let's just say 8:30, 9 o'clock. I start lessons around 10:30, 11 o'clock, and they'll run anywhere from 11 to 5, 11 to 7, depending on the day. And I don't do lessons the entire time.
Yeah.
I'll have an hour or 2 break to practice myself, drill some bowling balls, whatever it may be. But, so I try to get back as much as possible. Everybody does it their own ways. I don't really necessarily have to work for Turbo. I think I could do fine just by bowling, doing those types of things. But that's my way of giving back. I love coaching. I think that eventually in my career I will be a coach in some aspect. And this is the kind of the start for it.
Nice.
I've been coaching for about 3 years at Turbo Tech, and before that for about 3 to 4 years under Lou Marquez in Michigan at Bowling IQ. So a day in life is all bowling related, as you said, right? I wake up thinking about bowling because I'm thinking about some of the the lessons I'll be giving that day, what I'm going to work on them with, and then my own game. You know,
Yep.
Coaching has actually helped my own physical game so much because you start watching, you look at tendencies. I'm like, I do this all the time. Like, Andrew, you're coaching something you're supposed to be doing,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And it's made my own game better. But past that, with Turbo, you know, I do some testing for them in different aspects. You know, I test new things that we might be coming out with, product, things of that nature. And then the pro shop side of Turbo is more of a training aid, right? So we train other pro shops to get better.
Yeah.
We have coaches come in to get coached.
Yep.
So we have like a coaching coaches program,
Yep.
Things of that nature. And high school bowling is kind of my big thing at this moment in Michigan, what I really want to help grow. When I was in high school bowling, there's more kids. We've lost some of those.
Sure.
And it's not even really about the amount of kids, but I want to help further the coaches so that the talent can grow faster.
Yep.
And that's really where my outside of bowling tour, my ambition is.
Yeah, for sure. I actually coached high school bowling for 4 years, and then the program just has dwindled and all that sort of stuff. But no, that's awesome. That's awesome. So does it ever get boring though? I mean, that's got. I mean, it sounds terrible as you're out here going to compete in a major in less than 24 hours.
Right. It gets repetitive.
Yeah.
It gets repetitive. The thing about bowling is it's ever changing.
Yeah.
There's always something you can work on to get better at. Bowling balls are the biggest portion of that, right? Like I got to study bowling balls a lot and test bowling balls and run through surfaces. And like as we're preparing for this major event, I've been bowling on these 2 patterns for 3 to 4 weeks now, trying to figure out some combos and that. And that's really where the fun lies.
Okay.
On the highest level of bowling is like, how do you get the edge to beat the other guy?
Sure.
Because everybody out here that you're going to watch, those are awesome.
Yeah.
Like they're here for a reason.
Yeah.
What separates the good from the great
Yep.
and the great from the best,
Yep.
right? And that's what we're trying to figure out. And at times in my career so far, I figured that out. But because bowling is ever changing, I haven't been able to hold that standard, and that's what I strive for, and that's what keeps me going.
So yeah, it's a great transition. At 2018,
Yeah,
voted by your peers, you were the
Yeah.
best.
yeah,
I'll go back and watch that Masters show because number one, the convention center that they put together in Syracuse was interesting. I sucked there so bad for nationals. It was not great. But what you were able to do that year, playing that far left with guys that nobody else could, and at least score. It was a testament to the amount of work that you put in up to that point, and I'm really glad that it worked out for you in that way. And those that have followed your career, they know that you haven't been to that pinnacle yet again.
Yep.
What has that transition been like? What has changed for you, and what are you doing to try and get yourself back up to that level?
mean, it's just hard to win out here.
Yeah.
Like that's just the simplest statement. It's hard to win. There's a lot of really good bowlers. I mean, every day you look around and there's somebody that might throw it better than you. There's somebody that might be playing the lanes better than you. There's something that they know that you don't, and that's what you're trying to figure out. And in 2018, I had a vengeance tour, right? Like I was on a tear where every event I woke up and I felt like I had a good chance to win. And the separation from then to now is not really physically. Like I'm a better bowler now than I was then even. Like I can do a lot more things with the bowling ball.
Yeah.
But the mental aspect of controlling that is really what is the separation. And at that time, I was just so good at my game that I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. Now, as the lanes have changed, the oils changed, the bowling balls have changed, my game has had to change. So it's really about more mastering how to control my own game within those patterns or what we're bowling on, and to get back to that repetition rate. Because the thing that separated me in 2018, in my opinion, was my repetition. It wasn't that I had the hardest hitting ball. I didn't hit it the hardest. I didn't throw it the hardest. I was the highest repetition player. And since then, that's really what's changed. And again, I've had moments, right? Like I haven't been not successful.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just not winning a major and a player of the year,
Right,
And
right.
that's like what people will call a career year. And I happen to have it my second year on tour.
Right.
So 15 years from now, when I'm at 20 years and I can look back, I would hope that I have another one of those years and maybe even 2 of them.
Yeah.
But those are hard to come by.
Well,
How
it's-
many players actually get those, right? So to do it at 24, well, at the time, I was 23. So to do it at 23 was just amazing. And now I'm trying to repeat that feat as I get older and smarter And sometimes, it's a battle, right?
Yeah.
It's an internal battle.
Yeah, for sure. Walking into, tomorrow starts day one of the race for Player of the Year, essentially. What do you put expectations on yourself? Do you focus more on goals? Do you focus more on process? Like, what is the thing that, maybe not that you're focusing on, but the thing that keeps coming to mind as you're walking into this season?
Yeah, I mean, I started 2019 after my Player of the Year injured. And, sorry, 1 second.
You're good.
I started 2019 injured. So my goal was to make it through, right?
Okay.
To survive.
Yeah. Yep.
To show myself that even not at my best, I could compete. And what I learned was I need my best to compete at a high level. I was making do, but it wasn't what I wanted. So I started 2020 pretty good. I mean, 2020 went okay. And then COVID, I actually thought I made a lot of headway in 2020. I got better as a player. I got better as a person. And I felt like it was striving. And then COVID hit. And so I had a lot of time at home to think about it, right? And I've been thinking about it. So last year, I thought I had a pretty good year. I made the playoffs due to Jason not being able to make it back. But I won the doubles with Chris Prather.
Yep.
I won an eagle and some stuff outside the PBA Tour that was successful for me. But I definitely have more goals and aspirations this year than I have in the last 3 or 4 years. I did make a ball company switch just a month ago, so I'm learning that. So not that I still have really high expectations, but I have to be honest with myself, knowing that this could be a change, right? This is going to be something that might take me a couple weeks, a couple days, hopefully a couple hours, right?
But you hope so.
Yeah, but you never know. I have high aspirations this year. I'm a goal chaser, and
Sure.
I set goals. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not going to tell many people what they are.
Yeah.
But anybody who knows me knows I don't do well with bowling for second.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here to, like, if I'm going to shoe up, I want to be the best bowler in the building.
Yep.
At any time. So, really, I think that my goal this year is to win another major. And then if that means that my Player of the Year, at the end of the year, I'm close to that, then so be it. But I'm a realist, I have a couple weeks here to figure it out, thankfully, with the new bowling balls. This is my first time competing with them on a high stage or on a high level. So we're going to see how this goes.
Yeah.
But I'm here to win.
Yeah, I've avoided the ball switch conversation, but you're the person that I'll talk to all week that's the most proximate to a flip.
Yeah.
What's that process been like? Because you're talking to a guy that I'll never be on staff with anybody. I'm not nearly good enough, but I'm curious,
Yeah.
because you've done it technically twice, I think.
So
but- or-
after 2018 and 2019, Brunswick
Yeah, when they
absorbed
bought them.
Ebonite.
Yeah,
So
then
I made a
yeah.
switch, not really by my own choice.
Yeah.
But I did make a switch.
Yep.
And for people who follow my career and other, of our career who was with Ebonite at the time, it took us a while to get acclimated. Some had success. Majority of us, it took a while.
Yep.
And then if you look a year later, we had more success. But it took about a whole year
Yeah.
for those changes to really set in stone with us and the way we had to bowl to make that successful. This change for me has been a touch easier. Just because it was a choice I made. I was more prepared. I knew what I was getting into, and I had been studying it.
Sure.
And I've been, like, the first change, I knew that I was still able to throw my bowling balls from 2018, so I didn't really study it as much. I didn't put the time in that I needed to.
Yep.
I felt like I was just, it'll come to me. I just have more options now.
Yep.
That's not how this works.
Yeah.
Like, any little change on the highest level, we're talking about inches.
Yeah.
Where when you bowl league, not you singly, but whoever's listening is
Yep.
bowling league, they're looking for, like, feet of difference in ball reaction. I need a ball that hooks more. I need a ball that hooks less. When we talk about ball changes, I need something that hooks 6 inches faster. I'm talking about 6 inches later.
Yep.
I need it to move 6 inches more down the lane. We're not talking about feet.
Yep.
And that's because that's how accurate we are, and that's how much we care about how the ball rolls.
It's also how accurate you have to be.
True.
You don't have a choice.
Right. Right.
You know, it's one of those things. I actually I was given I actually had a TikTok had 100,000 views. I was like, honor scores don't matter anymore, right? And it's like, well, it doesn't matter because on house shots, it's just where it slows down.
Yep.
Left to right doesn't matter.
Yep.
And it's very few people understand that. But out here, it's like the exact opposite. You have to make it slow down, and at least
Yeah.
from my perspective, who's
Right.
never done this before. But
Yeah, and, we have an imaginary playing field, really. Like,
It's
we have
invisible,
a
yeah.
playing field, but it's
Yeah.
imagined. You're imagining what you think you're seeing.
Yeah.
And to have control over that, for a 60-foot lane
Yeah.
is really hard. And that's
Yeah.
really what separates people, too, is how much control do you have over the lane. And when you make bowling ball company switches or just bowling ball changes in general, you could see big changes, you can see small changes. And how you control those is really what determines if you're successful or not.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, like I said, we all bowl good. We're all good bowlers. Who can separate that the fastest and who can control it the fastest?
That's awesome. Do you have a event that you like to bowl the most out here?
Yeah, the TOC.
Yeah?
The
That's
TOC
the
is
one,
just,
huh?
you look around, there's a lot of there's just champions. Like, the whole phrase, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. That's the tournament that if I go my whole career without winning, I will not be happy with myself.
Sure.
Like, that is the one.
Yeah.
Like, the U.S. Open's the one. Like, we have major, like, you want to win all the majors. But if I had to pick one, the TOC is it, because I know that I beat the best
Yeah.
to win that tournament.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
that's the one that stands out. That's the one on the calendar I circle and say, please bring your best stuff.
Sure.
And that's the one. And I brought my best stuff a lot of times. I made the show once. I've led it a couple times. I haven't won it yet. That's the next on the to-do list.
You got to keep that yet in the sentence, though.
Yeah.
At least for now, until it's I've won it now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I had another question, but I'm blanking it. But we're getting up to practice time. What I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be here all week.
Okay.
Or all weekend. I'm going to leave on Sunday night like everyone else.
Yeah.
But hopefully we can touch base again because I'm going to be interviewing folks that are scoring a lot. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see kind of what you're able to do with some different rocks in your hand. Like I have no preference on what people actually throw.
Right.
And like I will never actually have a bowling ball company sponsor my YouTube channel because
You never
they're
know
all
that.
important, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone matches up with different stuff. But I'm curious, one of the things when that happened is like it's a Michigan kid throwing Michigan bowling balls. Like for whatever that's worth, it's kind of neat.
Yeah, there's a lot of backstory to that. I grew up throwing a lot of motive bowling balls. I did.
Yeah.
I was in Michigan.
Yeah.
My pro shop driller threw only motive stuff, so he was putting motive bowling balls in my hand, and it kind of just seemed like fate. Like some things just happen for a reason. This happened at a really good time for me, and maybe it was supposed to happen sooner. But, better late than never.
Right.
And we're going to see. I have a lot of career left.
Yeah.
We're going to see what we can do.
I'm excited for you, man.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like I said, we'll hopefully get to do it again. Maybe do a little bit longer. I can actually have a list of questions as I'm just coming into most of these dry. But
No, I like it.
No, thank
I
you
like
very
to
much.
wing it.
Thanks
All
for
right,
hanging
man,
out,
thanks.
bud. Good luck this week.
Thank you.